I want to talk about this more in the coming days, but the way the Republicans and Trump have gutted Medicaid and made massive cuts to the Affordable Care Act are going to take away health care from 17 million Americans. And I've seen a lot of Republicans who are making this claim.
The only people who are losing Medicaid are the people who are working less than 80 hours per month, who are fully able to go to work every day.
So that's absolutely not true, not even remotely true. Now, I understand that Republican politicians have been lying to their constituents. We heard Mike Johnson the other day said that there would be no cuts to Medicaid, that nobody would lose their health care, and that Medicaid would not be cut. That's just like an outright lie. It's an outright lie. And they are desperate for their constituents to believe it because they don't want you to know what they have done. They don't want you to vote them out in the midterms. They are trying to hide the reality of what they have done, how they have taken away health care from 17 million people in order to give giant tax breaks to the super rich. They don't want you to know that. So of course they're just lying to you and hoping that you won't fact check it. And Republicans so uncritically accept what their politicians say. I think that's like one of the major differences between a lot of Republicans and the rest of us is that I don't trust anything my politicians say to be gospel truth. I don't believe them uncritically. I don't worship and adore my politicians. I don't think my politicians necessarily have my best interest at heart, right? We have to be critical of what our elected say. We have to make sure that we are holding them accountable. But these Republican folks, they listen to what their congressman is saying and they're like, oh yeah, that must be true. And they don't bother to fact check it. So first of all, one of the big talking points I've heard from a number of Republican accounts on social media is that the only cuts coming to Medicaid are taking illegals off of Medicaid. Undocumented people in this country don't get enrolled in Medicaid. They can't get enrolled in Medicaid. But the second talking point is the one that this woman made. Republicans have been telling their constituents that the cuts to Medicaid are only going to impact like strapping young lads who are able-bodied and they could be working, but they're just like too lazy and they're sitting at home and they're playing video games all day and they need to go to work. Christo-fascist Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, even said this, like, oh, if you want to get Medicaid, you need to go to work. Y'all, millions of people in this country who take Medicaid are working, and lots of people who are on Medicaid are in between jobs and are looking for work. But there are millions and millions of Americans who are on Medicaid who are disabled but do not have federally recognized disability status. Those are the folks who are really at risk of losing their Medicaid. They are unable to work full-time or maybe even part-time, but they don't yet have legal disability status. Our country makes it incredibly hard for you to become federally recognized as disabled and get Social Security disability. They make it very, very difficult on purpose. Folks are almost universally rejected, and it can take years to go through that. And in that period of time, you are disabled and you cannot work and you need Medicaid while you are waiting for Social Security disability to come through. Those folks often need life-sustaining care in that years-long process to get their disability status recognized. Just because somebody has not yet been able to get federal recognition as being disabled, that does not mean that they are able-bodied and able to work full-time and that they don't need Medicaid. Also, let's keep in mind that there are millions of Americans who have short-term disability where they cannot get disability status, but they are not able to work and they need health care. There's also a whole other group of people who are unable to work, who rely on Medicaid, who are going to be severely impacted. And I want to go into this in much more detail later because it impacts not just them, but their children as well. Nearly 1 in 4 Americans on Medicaid are enrolled in Medicaid, not Medicare, because they are elderly and they need nursing home or dementia care. Do you want your granny with dementia to lose her health care unless she gets a 40-hour-a-week job? How would that work? In many nursing homes across this country, 60% of the patients who are there are covered by Medicaid. Please understand, Medicare does not cover memory care, dementia, and nursing home care. It is Medicaid. It is Medicaid, y'all. And those people cannot go to work in order to qualify for Medicaid, and they will lose their care. Again, I want to talk about this in much more detail because I didn't really understand this dynamic until my dad got dementia and had to go into memory care. Y'all, it's easily $10,000, $11,000, $15,000 a month for these facilities, and Medicaid is covering all of those expenses. Do we want our elders with dementia our elders who are severely disabled but are not, don't qualify for Social Security disability. Do we want those folks kicked out on the streets? We're already looking at memory care and nursing home facilities all across the country that will be closing. So it's not just if your loved one is on Medicaid. Even if you are a paying resident in one of these facilities, those facilities are going to be closing. Is this making America great again? The Republicans are the folks not that many years ago when we were trying to get the Affordable Care Act passed who were screaming about death panels. They were screaming about how, the Affordable Care Act would deny health care to our elderly. That was their whole focus because, a lot of Republicans are older. And so they were appealing to older folks and saying, if you vote for the Affordable Care Act, then you're going to lose your health care. There's going to be these death panels and they're going to decide to withdraw care from you. Republicans are now the party of death panels, y'all. They're now the party of killing seniors, of denying seniors their health care. It's not just Medicaid cuts that are happening in this package. There are Medicare cuts as well. Something like $500 million are being cut from Medicare. It's not just Medicaid in the big, nasty, bloated budget bill. But Republicans are the ones who have voted to take away health care from 17 million people. Republicans are the ones who are running death panels now in order to give giant tax breaks to billionaires. And where are you going to get the money if your granny or your mom no longer has Medicaid, but she has dementia and she can't live with you? It's not safe for you. They will take away her house in order to pay for it. They will take every last penny that she has. You will inherit $0. And if she runs out of money, if they take everything, they will seize, they'll put a lien on her house and sell her house in order to pay for her care. And when they run through all of that, do you know what they'll do next in a lot of states? There are filial laws, y'all. You can be legally responsible to pay for your mom or your granny's dementia care to the tune of $10,000 or $15,000 a month, or you can be charged with elder abuse and neglect. There are states that will come after your bank account to make sure that you pay for your granny. The only reason that hasn't happened for a lot of adults around this country is because Medicaid covers and protects and cares for our elders who are in those situations. I don't think you understand the financial costs. Even if you're like estranged from your parent and you loathe them and they are in a Medicaid facility and they lose their care because of this plan, the state can still force you to find $10,000 or $15,000 a month to pay for your family member's care. And if you think I'm joking, those laws have largely not been enforced because of Medicaid. When Medicaid goes away, we are going to watch states enforce filial laws more and more and more. So no, it's not just strapping young lads who are refusing to get a job and are just, sloths who are zooted out of their brains and playing World of Warcraft all day that are getting Medicaid. That's not who uses Medicaid in this country, y'all. Republicans have villainized and demonized people on Medicaid. They have painted a false image of who is getting that care, who needs that care, and who will have that care stripped away from them. In fact,
my medication, it runs $20,000 a month without insurance. I make $800 a month. Oh, that will kill me. That would kill my friends. That would kill millions of people in this country if they lose their health care.
We're in California's District 22, a rural community in the state's Central Valley. This district voted for Trump for the first time in 2024, but now his policies threaten one of the benefits people here rely on the most.
It bothers me when people like Elon Musk say that people on those programs are the parasite class. It's just cruel.
Do you know anyone personally who voted for President Trump but depends on benefits like Medicaid?
Oh yeah. I know a lot of people.
Trump promised a lot of things, like that it will be more family values and those programs that they really need here.
One of those promises was to protect Medicaid, which 67% of people in this district rely on. It's the largest percentage of any district in the entire country.
Can you guarantee that Medicare and Medicaid will not be touched?
Yeah, I have said it so many times, we're not going to touch it.
But his administration just proposed an $880 billion cut to Medicaid.
Except that they just voted to gut Medicaid. All of these people who believed the lies of Donald Trump are going to lose their health care and potentially die. It's American citizens, it's disabled folks, it's the elderly, it's your neighbors. That's who's about to lose their health care.